Welcome to the channel. Today, we're exploring some unbelievable story. Stay tuned and let's dive in. Before I found myself looking out the bus window at the familiar streets of Rivertown, my life had been a blur of duty and travel. The Air Force had carried me across the world for 6 years, providing me with great experiences but also separating me from those I cared about the most. It was difficult to balance the weight of duty with the aching of desire, but I reminded myself that it was all for a larger reason, a future I believed in. I believed Sophia, my wife, was my anchor. We'd created a life together before the deployment started, but with each assignment, I observed fractures appearing. Letters evolved into quick phone conversations and the warmth in her voice faded. It was difficult to pinpoint precisely when, but I felt we were slipping apart. The love we once had felt buried behind the layers of time and place. However, as the bus rushed across the countryside, I held out hope that returning home would mark the beginning of something fresh for us, a chance to restore what had shattered. As the bus slid by the entrance of Rivertown Zoo, I realized I was nearly home. After a long 5-hour ride, the destination was finally in sight. Just a little drive farther, and I'd be in Rivertown, ready to drop my luggage and enjoy the comfort of familiar walls. Most significantly, I would see Sophia, my wife, after a half-year separation. The prospect of rejoining made me feel both excited and uneasy. I am Ethan Carter, a 29-year-old senior airman. Until recently, I was active duty, having completed a 4-year tour as a fighter avionics technician, which basically included servicing aircraft electronics. I recently finished my third 6-month foreign deployment, this time at Aviano Air Base in Germany. After arriving at Luke Air Force Base earlier today, I took a bus journey across the Texas countryside to recover and reflect about my future now that my duty is finished. My father, Robert, maintained a family electrical company in Rivertown for many years. After high school, my twin brother, Ryan, and I interned for him. After earning my electrician certification, I joined the Air Force, while Ryan remained to assist our parents. I have an open offer to return to the company, but am not sure I want to. Working in ceilings and dealing with irate clients do not appeal to me. I'd rather try something new, although it would be good to see Mom, Dad, Sophia, and Ryan more often again. Sophia and I met at my internship and married 1 year after joining the Air Force. Recently, our connection has not been as fulfilling as I had thought. Before my departure, we began to drift apart, and the separation did not help. After 6 years together and 4 years of marriage, the spark may have dissipated. I'd want to find out how to resuscitate it. Sophia, originally from the Midwest, relocated to Austin to get a business degree and now practically manages our family's electrical company, with my mother serving as the official manager. Sophia manages money, logistics, and inventories to keep things going smoothly. I believe she chose the position mostly to be near to relatives while I was abroad, even if it is not hers by blood. I'm not sure how she'll react to my decision not to return to the company. After getting off the bus a few blocks from home, I walked the remainder of the way, arriving around 4 p.m. Sophia was scheduled to take me up from Riverwood at 7 p.m. I wasn't sure whether she'd be home by the time I arrived at Wright Air Base. Fortunately, arriving early at Edwards allowed me to board a bus straight across the state. When I got inside the home, everything appeared just as it had 7 months previously. I went to the bedroom to drop my stuff and discovered the bed was a shambles, with linens on the floor. The sound of running water came from the shower. Sophia must be home. I yelled out, "Are you getting ready to pick me up?" She shouted in surprise. "Oh my God, you scared me. What are you doing home already?" "I got dropped off early," I said. "I'll be out soon, okay?" She said hurriedly. "I was thinking of joining you. I've been on the road for nearly 24 hours, I told you." Her tone was forceful. "I'll finish up quickly and you can shower after." Her response was not what I was hoping for. No embrace, no enthusiasm. "It's done." I exited the restroom, grabbed my stuff, and began the machine. Sophia entered the living room wearing a bathrobe and a towel wrapped around her hair. "So you're really done with the Air Force? They didn't make you re-enlist?" questioned the woman. "They tried, but no." "I'm done," I said. "Can they still call you back?" "Only if there's a war, and even then, not for the next 6 years." She nodded and stepped inside the bedroom. I walked into the kitchen for a drink of water, feeling dissatisfied. This was hardly the homecoming I had expected, no excitement, no warmth. She behaved as if I had been gone for a day rather than 7 months. I followed her into the bedroom and watched her quickly clean up. "Are you just going to stand there, or will you help me?" she questioned, without looking up. "I'm not here to tidy up." "Why does the room look like a tornado hit it? Have you been sleeping poorly and during the day too?" I was curious. She halted and glanced at me. "I was late for work this morning. I came home early to get ready for your return, and you're still not happy to see me," I said. She did not answer and proceeded to make the bed. Frustrated, I returned to the living room and sat on the sofa. I didn't believe she was cheating, but her apathy was disconcerting. Even before I departed for Germany, our relationship seemed distant, and her coldness exacerbated the situation. I lay down on the sofa and slept asleep. Later, I heard her voice. "David, dinner will be ready soon. Go take a shower." Her voice awakened me. It was now dark outside, and I must have slept for hours. I stood up, walked to the bathroom, and got into the hot shower. The warmth flooded over me, leaving me feeling rejuvenated and tranquil, at least for the time. When I returned to the dining room, Sophia had set the table and served porterhouse steaks with mashed potatoes, my favorite. "Smells amazing," I murmured as I sat down. She grinned. "Welcome home, David." "Thanks," I said, biting into the steak. "We've got ice cream for dessert, too," she said, sitting opposite from me. I gazed at her while I devoured my dinner. "Why didn't you call me from Riverwood? I could have picked you up." "I didn't land at Hudson, I flew into Edwards this morning and took a bus home." "I thought you'd still be at work," I said. "Did you stop at your mom and dad's first?" she was asking. "No," I said, shaking my head. "I came straight home to see my loving wife." Her countenance softened, but she still seemed remorseful. "Sorry for the lukewarm welcome. I had plans for tonight, but you caught me off guard." "That's okay," I responded with a shrug. "We've got time to catch up." Sophia ate silently after that, without glancing up. She seemed preoccupied and lost in her thoughts. I interrupted the stillness. "Do you still enjoy working with my family now that I'm back? You don't have to stay there if you don't want to." She gave a short glance skyward. "I like it. If I didn't, I'd tell you." "I'm fine with it," I assured them. "I just thought you were working there to stay close to them while I was gone. Now that I'm back, it's your choice." "Your mom's great to work with," she said. "And Dad and Ryan. They are still treating you well?" I questioned them. "Of course," she said, nodding. "Your dad relies on Linda and me, and Ryan's as nice as ever. The guys respect me because they know I'm in charge." We finished dining and went to the living room for ice cream. Sophia sat in a chair rather than next to me on the sofa, and I couldn't get the impression that she was avoiding me. After she finished her ice cream, she took out the remote. "Sophia," I urged softly, "could you turn off the TV and come sit with me?" She paused for a bit before joining me on the sofa. She sat on the brink, far away. I drew her closer, but as I moved in to kiss her, she turned and held me instead. It felt empty, like to embracing a brother. I drew back and stared at her. "What's going on, Sophia?" Her gaze darted away. "What do you mean?" "Come on," I said, my voice forceful but not harsh. "I've been gone 7 months and you haven't kissed me once. You're avoiding me. What's changed?" She glanced away. "I just need time to adjust to you being home," she told me. "That's not true. You never needed time before. Are you seeing someone else?" When Sophia scowled at me and went out to the bedroom, I expected her to talk, but instead she slammed the door behind her. "Where are you going? Can't you even answer a simple question?" I yelled after her. I took a few long breaths and followed her, only to discover the door was locked. "Sophia, can you open the door so we can talk?" Silence was her only answer. Frustrated, I returned to the living room, laid on the sofa, and watched the news to distract myself. Thoughts whirled. Was she angry because I questioned her, or because I had struck the mark? The morning light awoke me. I stretched before heading to the kitchen for coffee. As I proceeded toward Sophia's bedroom to inquire if she wanted any, I saw the door was open, but she wasn't inside. Her automobile was gone. Did she already leave for work? I checked my phone and saw it was about 8 a.m. It's late for me. After preparing coffee, I opted to eat before traveling to my folks' garage for business. My dirty vehicle wouldn't start, the battery had died. I moved it to the hill road, fired it up, and made a mental note to go to the garage for a checkup. After eating breakfast at a cafe near my parents' shop, I went to Bennett Electrical. As I was walking toward the rear of the shop, a young employee behind the counter stopped me. "Sorry, sir. Staff only," he said sternly. "I'm Ethan Carter, Robert's son," I said. His expression changed when he realized what was happening. "You're the Air Force guy." "They are all here," he added, standing aside so I could pass. In the storage, I observed my brother Ryan and Sophia on the far end. They were speaking intimately, and their discussion seemed personal. Ryan massaged her arm from time to time, and they embraced once. It seemed like he was attempting to soothe her. I forced the sight from my mind and entered the office, where Mom welcomed me with a loving embrace. "It's so good to see you, honey," she said, grinning. "Is it true you're done with the Air Force?" inquired the woman. "Yep, no more deployments," I said. "How are you holding up?" she taunted. I chuckled. "Dad's still his own boss and you're just like him," she said, laughing. Before I could reply, Dad came and surprised me with a rare embrace. "Welcome home, son." "It's good to see you," he remarked gruffly. "Good to be back, Dad," I said truly. "How was Germany?" he inquired. "Still exciting, or did it get old?" "It was good," I said, "but I missed home." Dad nodded. "So what's next? Any chance you'll re-enlist?" "No regrets so far," I said thoughtfully. "But I need time to figure things out." "You've got a job here whenever you want it," Dad told you. "Don't put pressure on him," Mom said. "He doesn't have to work here." "It's his business too, not just yours," my dad said. This dispute seemed to mirror an earlier quarrel between them. I hadn't informed anybody about my goals, so their conversation threw me off guard. "It's fine," I said. "We can talk about my plans later. I'm just happy to be home." Ryan and Sophia then entered the office. Ryan remarked, "Good to see you, David," and gave me a short embrace. "Hey, big brother," I said. "Have you found a nice girl yet?" Ryan laughed awkwardly. Had always struggled with females and relied on me to introduce him to their buddies in high school. Since I began dating Sophia, his personal life appeared to fade. Ryan, unlike me, was shy and unwilling to explore new things. "So are you re-enlisting in the Air Force or coming back to work here?" Ryan asked you. "Neither. I'm thinking of doing something else," I said in reply. Ryan nodded, but Dad interrupted. "What's your plan for today, David?" "Nothing yet." "Why?" "Come with me. I could use a hand and we can catch up," offered the man. "Sure, Dad. Give me 10 minutes to get ready and I'll meet you at the loading dock," I told him. Ryan followed Dad out, leaving Sophia to remain alone at her desk. I noticed she hadn't talked to me in the morning, not since our quarrel last night. I went up to her. "Are we going to talk, or are you just ignoring me?" I inquired gently. "I don't think there's anything to say," she said, her voice frigid. "There's plenty to say, you just don't want to talk," I stated quietly but firmly. She gave me a stern glance. "Not until you apologize," she said. "I'll apologize if you explain why you've been so distant since I got back. You've spoken more warmly to Ryan than to me. Do you even want to stay married?" I said, my anger rising. Sophia's face stiffened. "Just because I don't jump into bed with you doesn't mean I'm cheating," she told me. "But you won't even show affection." "Why?" I pushed. "I told you I needed time to readjust," she yelled. "Readjust to what? What's going on?" I insisted. "Nothing," she said curtly. "Bill's waiting for you and I have work to do. Please go." Fuming, I departed and found Dad at the loading dock, putting tools into his vehicle. You ready, David? He inquired. Yeah, let's go, I said. Dad and I went to work on the project site, which was a gutted home. He worked on the light fixtures while I focused on the outlets. After a few hours, we took a rest in our vehicle. Here, take half of my sandwich, Dad suggested, offering it to me. Thanks, I said, taking a chunk. We ate silently until I set out. Mom mentioned this morning that you and she had talked about me not working here. What's that about? Dad sighed, his gaze fixed on the dashboard. Your mom thinks Ryan will do better if you don't come back. She wants to give him space to succeed. She thinks him holding him back. I said, my voice rising, she thinks he's happy now. She believes this is his chance for a good job, a family, and a stable life, Dad said cautiously. And me working here would ruin that. I said angrily. Dad shakes his head. I don't agree with her, but she's convinced. I clenched my fist. She always favored Ryan, but this is next level. What's going on? Dad paused, then muttered under his breath. Crap. You don't know, do you? No, what? What are you talking about? I insisted. He averted my gaze before stating, Sophia and Ryan, they've been together since you left for Germany. She told us you two broke up before you deployed. What? I demanded. That's a lie. We never broke up. Dad inhaled heavily. The coldness from Sophia, but all makes sense now. Your mom and I didn't know at first. She was upset, but Sophia told us you knew. Eventually, your mom accepted it. Accepted it? So they tried to hide it from me. Not exactly, Dad said. Sophia claimed you knew. We all thought you were okay with it. Ryan knew damn well I had no idea. I let out a roar. This morning, he hugged me like nothing happened. I sat silently, the treachery by my wife and brother seeping in. Dad remained silent. The air in the vehicle was thick with stress. I finally broke the quiet. So, you and Mom knew Ryan was with my wife while I was overseas, and you were okay with it? No, I wasn't okay with it, Dad responded, speaking quietly. Your mom was upset at first too, but she eventually accepted it. They tried to keep it a secret. Does everyone at the store know? I said, my voice tense with rage. Yes, Dad said hesitantly. I tightened my fists. Unbelievable. And Ryan acts like nothing happened. Even hugging me this morning. Dad exhaled. Sophia told us you two broke up before you left for Germany. She and Ryan were already close and we thought they got together because they were lonely. Close, I shouted. That means Ryan's been after my wife for a while. I can't believe he'd do this to me. I think he's always been jealous of you, Dad remarked gently. Jealous? Mom wants me gone so Ryan can have my wife, the business, and everything else. Should I also turn in my house and truck? I said coldly. Your mom didn't know. She'd been lied to, Dad said. She thought you left Sophia. She wanted them to be happy, but it wasn't right. Ryan is dead to me, I said angrily. Come on, David. He's still your brother, remarked my dad. I know you're angry, but Sophia is just as much to blame. No, Ryan's my brother. If anyone should have my back, it's him. And Sophia. She acted like I owed her an apology last night. I'm sorry, David, Dad murmured softly. This is a mess. I gave him a harsh glance. What will you say to them when you get back to the store? Nothing, Dad acknowledged. I gave them a hard time when I found out, but I thought you knew. They should have at least waited until you were divorced. I took a long breath to relax myself. The betrayal seared, and recollections of my return home were warped in my memory. I replied, I need time to think about this, but I won't ruin my life over them. They are not worth it. Dad nodded. Call me later so I know you're okay. Sure, I said. I went to the store to get my items. When I entered the office, Mom glanced up. Are you done already? She inquired. No, Dad's still there. I came back to talk to my cheating wife and my traitor brother, I said with a frown. Mom's face became pale. What are you talking about? You two aren't together anymore? No, Mom. That's the lie they told you. Sophia and I never split. They've been lying to you and Dad. I turned to Sophia. How could you do this to me with my own brother? Sophia said nothing as she ran out of the office. I glanced at Mom. So, is this what you wanted, Mom? To get rid of me so Ryan can have it all? I didn't know, David, she responded hesitantly. You could have asked me when I called, but you remained silent to protect them. Well, now you know you can trust them, I remarked cruelly before walking out. As I was leaving, Ryan approached me. Step back, Ryan. Don't make this worse, I told you. You need to leave, David. This isn't your place anymore, Ryan said fiercely. I approached Ryan and in the heat of the moment, a brawl ensued, leaving him on the ground with bleeding nose. You're dead to me, Ryan. Don't call. Don't come near me. Sophia better have her stuff out of my house by tonight, I added with a smile. I walked over him, exited the shop, and drove away. I found out about Sophia and Ryan 4 months ago. She moved in with him and I sold our home. It included too many terrible memories. After I paid off my mortgage, I leased an apartment near South Rivertown Airport and got a job with a big aviation support business. The task was difficult, but my fighting experience had prepared me and I finally felt like I was progressing. Mom and Dad paid me a visit after I had settled in. While Mom and I reconciled, she reduced Sophia's involvement in the family company. On a Friday night, co-workers asked me out to dinner and drinks in Rivertown and I enthusiastically accepted. After supper, we went to the bar. On my way back from the toilet, I accidentally ran into someone. Sorry about that, I said, taking a step back. No problem, the lady said, turning to me. I froze. Olivia, wow. It's been years. I said. She smiled and gave me a short embrace. Olivia was my first love and the first girl Ryan attempted to take from me in high school. You look amazing. Do you live nearby? I said, still startled to see her. What about you? She said with a questioning grin. I'm in Dallas, near the airport. I'm here in Rivertown, I said. I work in avionics. What about you? I run a travel agency near the airport, Olivia proudly said. We spent a few minutes catching up. She remarked hearing that I had married and I revealed that I was now separated. How about you? I inquired, smirking. There's no way you're single. Actually, I am, Olivia said, taking me off guard. Old memories and emotions started to resurface. You're here with friends, right? I said, looking around the room. Yes, she said. What about you? My co-workers, I said, gesturing to the table. Want to join us? Sure, let's merge our tables, Olivia remarked, smiling. We returned to our groups and my team, Jake, Daniel, Connor, and Nathan, was excited when I mentioned Olivia's pals. Let's do this, Jake muttered, his gaze immediately drawn to the women's table. As we joined Maddie's group, I made it very apparent. Olivia's the blonde with the bob. She's mine. You guys pick from the other two. Deal. I said. Deal, Jake said, chuckling. I grinned as we grabbed seats and approached the ladies. Hey, Olivia, I said. Hi, Liam. Help me bring the tables together, she added, her grin rekindling her joy. We gathered around the tables and Olivia introduced everyone. I'm Olivia and these are Isabel and Emily, she said. Hi, I'm Liam. These are Daniel, Jake, Connor, and our boss, Nathan, I told them. So, how do you know Liam? Isabel inquired. Olivia. He was my first crush. We were high school sweethearts, she told me. Isabel and Emily moaned in unison. So you're not married to Liam? Emily remarked, teasingly. No, and don't even think about matchmaking us, Olivia added with a smile. Looks like you messed up, bro, Daniel said, grinning at me. Yeah, I did, I acknowledged. I looked at Olivia, who leaned forward and whispered. Are you just saying that, or did you finally realize I was right about Ryan? Taking a breather, I replied, I figured it out recently. Ryan was the reason my marriage fell apart. I regret not believing you back then. Olivia grinned faintly. Well, you can always make it up to me. I really want to, I said truthfully. She gave me a brief kiss on the cheek, causing laughter around the table. Whoa, Olivia. What did Liam say to earn that so fast? Isabel said, amused. Olivia said, I don't kiss and tell, and smiled sweetly at me. Liam's always been the nicest guy I've ever met, she told me. Really? Was he your first, too? Emily said, smirking. Emily, that's a little personal, Olivia replied, laughing. What about you? Was Liam your first? Emily said. Yes, and the best, I boldly said, eliciting shouts and backslaps from the boys. Is it getting warm in here? Isabel joked, fanning herself. Okay, enough about us, Olivia remarked, diverting the discussion. If you guys are single, these ladies need entertainment, Nathan joked. The following hour or two passed quickly as we all relaxed and enjoyed ourselves. Daniel and Jake seemed to get along well with Isabel and Emily, while Nathan and Connor seemed to enjoy themselves as well. Personally, I couldn't get enough of Olivia. She was exactly as intriguing as I recalled, and it seemed comfortable to be around her again. At one point, I excused myself to use the toilet. When I got out, I saw Olivia heading down the same corridor. She smiled when she spotted me and leaned comfortably on the wall next to me as she left. It's so good to see you again, Liam. I mean it, she murmured quietly. Same here, I said, matching her look. I had forgotten how much I like spending time with you, simply being with you. She smiled slightly. I understand. Maybe it's as they say about your first true love, you develop a relationship that lasts a lifetime. Maybe, I responded, my voice dropping. But I'd like to put that theory to the test. Damn it, Liam, you're really smooth, Olivia replied with a sly grin. You could start by giving me your number and taking me out to dinner. What if I kissed you first? I asked, leaning in slightly. Olivia chuckled and gave me a teasing expression. Okay, Liam, we can start with that. I leaned in and kissed her tenderly at first, and it felt even better than I recalled. Olivia's hand came to my face, and her other arm wrapped around my back. I drew her closer, allowing the moment to linger, relishing the warmth and softness of her lips. When we eventually broke the kiss, Olivia gazed up at me with heated cheeks. Wow, that was really good, she said, beaming. You've still got it, I said, smirking. She giggled quietly while collecting her breath. Pretty sure that's all you, Liam, but we should get back to the table before I lose control of myself. Do we have to? I teased. If it were up to me, I'd take you home right now. Easy, Tiger, Olivia remarked with a sly giggle. You can take me out to dinner first. I laughed. Fair enough. But may I have one more kiss before the night is over? She grinned, and her eyes twinkled. Yes, you can. I promise. We went back to join the others, and I couldn't stop humming, replaying that kiss with Olivia in my mind. We talked for another hour before heading to the dance floor, where Daniel danced with Isabel, Jake with Emily, Nathan had already left to go home to his wife and kids, and Connor soon followed, leaving only the three couples. Around 1 a.m., Olivia and I were gently dancing when she remarked, after this song, Liam, the girls and I will return home. You had best call me. That's one thing you'll never have to worry about, I said with a grin. I can't wait to see you again. You haven't even left yet, Olivia said, resting her head on my chest as we gently danced until the song finished. Walking back to the table, we saw Daniel and Isabel already seated, with Jake and Emily close following. It seemed surreal, 3 couples formed in one night, was it even possible? We eventually stepped outside to wait for a taxi, and while each couple was preoccupied with their own talk, the first cab arrived for the females. Olivia gave me a short kiss and reminded me to contact her before getting in the vehicle with Isabel and Emily. Left standing with Daniel and Jake, Daniel turned to me and said, Liam, I owe you this. Isabel is great. We already have another date, Jake said. Same here. Emily really asked me out. I was too anxious in case she said no. Glad I could assist, gentlemen, I added. Tonight was fantastic. Better than I had hoped. The next morning, I awoke feeling somewhat sleepy but not too awful, and Olivia was on my mind from the time I opened my eyes. After bathing and getting ready, I went to a coffee shop near my apartment for some coffee and waffles. As I sat there thinking about her, my phone rang. "Hello," I replied, looking at the unfamiliar number. "Hey, Liam," Olivia's familiar voice said over the phone. "I just remembered I didn't give you my phone number last night. I just received yours, please preserve mine, okay?" "Of course, I'll save it," I said. "Honestly, I was just thinking about you." "No, it is a lie. I have been thinking about you all morning." Olivia laughed heartily. "Well, now I'm thinking about you too." "Really, Liam? Are you in love with me yet? If we were in Salem in the 1600s, I'd accuse you of being a witch for putting a love spell on me, I told you." "Oh my God," she chuckled. "Did you practice that line? Did you like it?" I inquired, smirking. "Yeah, I liked it," she said. "Well," I joked, "if I'm under your spell, does that mean you can make me do whatever you want?" "Absolutely," Olivia said. "Then I order you to pick me up and take me to lunch today," I added, changing the script. "Deal," she said without hesitation. "Send me your address and I'll be there." "I will." "And, Olivia, thank you for last night. I haven't felt that joyful in a long time." "I feel the same way," she stated earnestly. "It's like I pressed the reset button on my life. A new location, a new career, new acquaintances, and maybe someone wonderful to share it with." Olivia laughed softly. "If I find out who she is, I'll scratch her eyes out." "What?" I laughed, taken off guard. "Well, we're not rookies at this," she remarked softly. "But I hope we can make it special this time." "I hope so, too," I said. "All right, my waffles are getting cold. Do not forget to email me your address." "I will mail it immediately." "See you soon, Liam." "Bye, Olivia," I murmured, smiling as I ended the conversation. When I arrived to Olivia's place, finding a parking space was hard. Luckily, I noticed her coming out of the building, so I honked and waved, and she climbed into my newly cleaned truck, which I had spent 2 hours cleaning pristine for her. "So, where are you going me to lunch, Liam?" she asked, bending in to kiss my cheek. "How about Galveston Beach? We can get some dinner on the way and relax by the beach. It is a bit of a trek, however." "Sounds perfect," Olivia replied, her face lighting up as we went down the road toward the observation deck. I clasped Olivia's hand and she smiled up at me softly. When we reached the end of the route, we sat on the grass, the Pacific Ocean stretched out in front of us. After a period of silence, I unlocked my rucksack and took out the sandwiches we'd purchased earlier. "I thought you'd take me to a nice restaurant or cafe," Olivia joked, "but this is so much better." "I'm glad you think so," I said. "I wanted it to be memorable. Dining out does not always seem exceptional." Olivia laid her head into my shoulder, her voice softening. "You're making me nervous, Liam." "What do you mean?" I questioned, staring down at her. "Well," she said, "only yesterday I had no clue where you were or what you were doing. Now it's difficult to fathom without being with you. This is occurring so quickly. I do not want to be harmed again." I paused before saying, "I apologize for how things ended between us back then. I should have believed you." "No, that's not it," she said, shaking her head. "I was hurt by my marriage. I barely began moving on a few months ago, and now I am here with you." "With you, Liam? I can't do casual. It's all or nothing, which concerns me." "What frightens you?" I asked softly. "Falling in love again," she murmured, her voice cracking. "Or remembering how much it hurts when love goes wrong?" "Both," Olivia said. "Doesn't it worry you to think about how painful love can be?" she asked. "I know the sensation," I said, "but I'm not going to let that stop me. My relationship with my ex-wife does not define us. You are nothing like her." "What we have is different," I said. Olivia stared at me with a hesitant gaze. "What about your ex? Are you going to remark that I remind you of her?" "No, not at all," I said firmly. "If anything, I've always hoped she were more like you. Or at least the version of you I recall." Her brow furrows slightly. "But what if I am not who you remember?" What if I end up being more like her than you would want? I took a big breath. Well, I do not know your ex, but I do know myself. In my thoughts, I'm still the high school student who had a crush on you. Sure, I have a few more scars and stories, some good, some bad, but I am still me. I want to have a good life and share it with someone I love. Olivia's expression relaxed. Okay, she responded slowly. But if you hurt me again, there will be no third chance. I retained her eyes. I won't need a third chance, I promise. Olivia raised her head and we exchanged a delicate kiss. After lunch, we returned to her apartment to hang out, or more precisely, make out. I didn't push for more. Olivia had previously expressed her concern about how quickly things were going, so I decided to let her determine the pace. Olivia planned to see a movie with Isabel that Saturday night, but it turned into a double date with Olivia and me, plus Isabel and Daniel. I didn't stay over that night. Instead, I had dinner with my parents on Sunday, making sure Ryan and Sophia weren't there. Over the next week, I took Olivia out to dinner twice and we all went out again on Friday night, 3 couples this time around 10 p.m. Olivia leaned over to me at the table. Liam, please take me home. She asked. Are you all right? Is there something wrong? I inquired, apprehensive. No, nothing's wrong, just the opposite, she responded quietly. I want you to take me home. I lifted my eyebrows as I stared into her eyes. Are you sure? I asked. Yes, I'm sure, she said. Olivia kissed me tenderly on the lips and we rose up. I said to the gathering, we're leaving. They appeared to understand and didn't protest, and when we returned to her house, she took me into the living room. Take a seat on the couch, Liam. I'll be right out, she said. Do you want anything to drink, Olivia? I offered. No, I am okay. She said, help yourself if you want. I was just getting comfy on the sofa when Olivia walked out of her bedroom, dressed in something wonderful, and offered me to join her. I thought about it, but instead of more whiskey, I chose water. We made love that night. Olivia then stared directly into my eyes. I can't believe I'm already so in love with you, do you realize that? She asked. Olivia, I adore you too. I really do, I responded. In the weeks that followed, Olivia and I were inseparable. I frequently spent nights at her apartment because it was closer to our jobs, and I even started keeping work clothes and a toothbrush there for convenience. It was amazing how quickly we fell into a rhythm, as if we were finally finding our missing halves. We knew each other well throughout our high school dating year, but now that we'd had more life experience, we were finding ourselves and each other on a far deeper level. We had just returned to Olivia's apartment after dinner on Tuesday night, and I was sitting on the couch waiting for her to return. I couldn't stop thinking about how happy I felt just being around her. Olivia reappeared, dressed in an oversized t-shirt, and snuggled up next to me on the couch. Liam, I've been thinking, she said. You don't have to if you don't want to, I told him. Olivia smiled but pushed on, shouldn't we discuss what occurred in our marriages? Just so we know how we got here. To what end? She asked. To figure out what went wrong, she said, yeah, and maybe to make sure we don't repeat the same mistakes. All right, I responded, do you want to go first, or should I? You go ahead, Olivia responded with a faint grin, but I have a feeling your story might be longer than mine. Fair enough, I said. Where should I begin? What about how you met her and what she was like, not as you view her today, but back then? Olivia made a suggestion. Well, I said, we met at a pub. I was in college and she was studying business at Mills. We were both 21. She seemed sweet, although she wasn't really communicative at first. I had to work hard to get her to open up and share a few beers. Honestly, I don't recall thinking she was the one or anything. We gradually began dating. I joined the Air Force after finishing my internship, proposed 7 months later, and we married another 7 months later. Being in the military strained our relationship, particularly since she remained behind. She worked in the city and lived in Rivertown, where we had just purchased a tiny 3-bedroom home. We ended up spending more time apart than together. What was she like? Olivia asked, and what were you two like as a couple? She was determined, sometimes too stubborn for her own good. She wasn't great at expressing her feelings and often bottled them up, even with me. When she was in a good mood, she could be warm and cheerful. I felt like it was my responsibility to get her in the right mood, and sometimes I just couldn't focus on it, especially when I was overseas. Ironically, the distance sometimes helped because we missed each other. When I came home, things would be good for about maybe renting out the house, and traveling together could have been a solution, but we never considered it. When did she start working for your parents? Olivia inquired. During my 3rd year in the Air Force, about a year and a half after we got married, I gave an example. Were you around much after that? Is that when things started going wrong? Yeah, I wasn't home much. I was in Germany for most of my 3rd year and the last 7 months of my final year. The 7 months in between, I was stationed at Edwards with a test squadron and only came home on weekends, I informed you. Is that when she started getting close to Ryan? Olivia asked carefully. Yes, I think so, I conceded. They always got along fine, but I didn't suspect anything while I was at Edwards. Looking back, I think her relationship with Ryan may have contributed to our problems. Do you think she thought she could trade you for someone who'd be around more? Olivia inquired. She knew my time in the Air Force was ending and I never planned to re-enlist. But she started dating Ryan during my last 7 months. Maybe she just fell in love with him. He can be persuasive. But that didn't work on you, did it? Olivia said, her gaze narrowing slightly. No, I said firmly. I wouldn't betray you, even when I was away. And as for Ryan, he tried to make a move on me once, but I shut it down. I was disgusted, but I didn't confront him because I didn't want to escalate things. Why not? Olivia asked. He was drunk, and at first I thought he was just being an idiot, but then things got out of hand. Olivia's expression stiffened. You said he kept groping you. What exactly did he do? He came up behind me, grabbed my chest, and wrapped his arms around me so I couldn't get away. Even when I yelled at him to stop, people thought we were just messing around. Everyone else was partying, so they didn't think it was serious. I was furious. You weren't there because he wouldn't have tried that if you were around. I was mad at myself too for not leaving sooner, but I didn't want him ruining my night. I'm sorry I wasn't there, Olivia murmured quietly. What happened next? She inquired softly. He cornered me in the hallway as I came out of the bathroom and tried to push me into a bedroom. Well, you know the rest. I've never felt so powerless and no one tried to help me. Maybe they thought I was okay with it because they'd seen us hanging out together before, like I was just fooling around with him while you were away. Well, Olivia continued, her voice tightening, I'm glad you stood up for yourself. I hope his balls are still sore. Her bluntness took me by surprise and I chuckled despite myself. I don't think he'll ever forget, I murmured, my voice hardening. Olivia sighed and put her head on my shoulders. So what about your story? I said after a period of quiet. Olivia paused before nodding. All right, she responded gently. I met my ex, Derek, when we were sophomores in college. We started dating and got engaged about a year after graduating. We married 2 years later. You dated for years before getting engaged, and then it took even longer to get married. I said with confusion. Why did it take so long for you two to connect? I'm not sure, Olivia acknowledged. Looking back, maybe we both knew deep down it wasn't meant to be. We were probably just content with what we had at the time. But you loved him, didn't you? I said softly. Yes, she responded gently at first. But like your relationship, we drifted apart as time went on. I think we ended up getting married to try to save what we had. There was also pressure from family and friends. The marriage only lasted about 7 months. What went wrong? Did you decide to end it? I questioned you. No, Olivia said. Derek lost his job and hated the new one he found. He started drinking more and eventually he became violent. Violent? I said, my tone taut with alarm. At first, it was just verbal abuse. But then he started pushing and kicking me. That's when I decided I had to leave, she told me. I gently challenged him, and one night, after he came home drunk and angry, he punched me during an argument. I don't even remember what it was about, but it was like I was the target for all his frustrations. I told him to sleep on the couch that night, but the next morning, he started in on me again and struck me again. That was the last straw. Did you go to the police? I said, my fist clenched automatically. Men like that usually keep doing it. There needs to be a record so future women are warned. Yes, I went to the police, she said. I got a restraining order and he was forced to move out. I haven't seen him since that day. I'm sorry you went through that, I responded honestly. With both Derek and Ryan, I hope the other guys you dated treated you better. You're my only boyfriend, Olivia said softly. And so far, you've been good to me. Wait, you didn't date anyone else in college after you met Derek? There must have been plenty of guys chasing after you, I said with a grin. There were, but I was still thinking about you. I didn't want to date anyone then, so I focused on my studies and spent time with my girlfriends. They eventually convinced me to start dating the next year, but I got teased a lot for being so serious, Olivia joked. Mine's mother was a favorite, she said jokingly. I laughed and Olivia slapped me with a pillow. Tell me, Liam, she said, her tone serious. Do you think you'll ever forgive Ryan for what happened? He is your twin brother, after all. No, I said firmly. I don't think I ever will. Even putting aside what he did with Sophia or you, it's about what he did to me. He betrayed my trust. I've thought about it a lot since Sophia left. Even though he was my twin, we were never good friends. Maybe if we were identical twins it would be different, but we weren't alike at all. He was always around, but I never enjoyed being alone with him. We were only together because of other people, my friends, my girlfriends. Looking back, I realize what's that saying, Liam? You can choose your friends but not your family. Olivia said softly. Yeah, but it's tough when your family becomes part of your friend group, I said. Mom and Dad expected me to take him everywhere, like he'd always have my back. I don't know why he didn't just do his own thing or make his own friends. That's one reason I joined the Air Force, to finally get some space from him. Well, now you're rid of him, Olivia remarked pleasantly. Let's go to bed, Liam. I need to snuggle for a while. Wait, I replied, interrupting her. You said we should talk about this so we can learn from it. What exactly did we learn? Not to fall in love with crappy people, Olivia said with a sneer. I laughed. Yeah, I guess we learned to make better choices about the people we love. That, and you should never settle for second best, Olivia said, her tone softening. Agreed, I said, jumping up and hugging her. Now I'll take my first best girlfriend to bed. Olivia gently kissed me before guiding me into the bedroom. The weeks that followed were similar to the ones that before them, but it was difficult to fathom life without Olivia. I felt so calm, like if this was the true definition of happiness and love. Olivia and I had lunch at my parents' place last weekend. Mom and Dad were overjoyed to see her again and glad to see me happy after breaking with Sophia. By the end of the week, I had transferred all of my belongings into Olivia's apartment since we were now essentially living together. Keeping two locations did not make sense. It had been just under 7 months since I had filed for divorce from Sophia. Olivia's divorce was completed 8 months after she filed, so ideally I just had a few months till it was official. Mum turned 49 on Friday, but she celebrated with a large party on Sunday evening at my parents' place. Over 60 friends and family members came, making it difficult to ignore Ryan and Sophia without upsetting Mom. Skipping the celebration would have given them influence over my relationship with my parents, so Olivia and I chose to go. We arrived at roughly 4 p.m. The home was already filled, and the celebration was held in the garden beneath a huge gazebo. As we greeted family, Mom emerged from the kitchen. She paused, smiled, and drew us into an embrace. You two look like you belong in a daytime TV romance, she remarked. Absolutely gorgeous. You look amazing, too, Mom, I said, beaming. Not a day over 40. Stop it, Liam, she said, laughing. Is this how you won Olivia over? She inquired. Olivia laughed. He's smooth, Linda, but he's also genuine. That's his dad in him. Mother smiled pleasantly. Happy birthday, Linda, Olivia murmured sincerely. Happy birthday, Mom, I said, giving her a present. Hope this is a party you'll never forget. Thank you, she said, embracing us again. Hesitantly, she continued, Liam, Ryan, and Sophia are here. Is that a problem? Not from us, I told her. It's your night. Enjoy it. Don't let them ruin the evening. We went to the backyard, where Dad welcomed us. You both look amazing, he replied, shaking my hand and kissing Olivia on the cheek. Olivia, how my son convinced you to fall for him is beyond me, Dad replied, smiling. Olivia said, he's quite charming. Must take after you, smart and handsome. Dad grinned proudly. Mom looks great for a big day, I replied, bringing the discussion back. She appears to be happy, but she has been stressed for weeks, Dad said. Hopefully, she can relax now. I hope so, too, I said. Dad dropped his voice. Liam, your brother and Sophia are here. Is that okay? As long as they stay away from us, I quietly said. I'll make sure they do, Dad said. Thanks, Dad, I murmured, feeling more relaxed. We mingled with the gathering, which was largely made up of my parents' relatives and friends, some of whom I knew well and others just vaguely, but everyone appeared to remember me. My height and physique made me difficult to notice. Olivia, on the other hand, was the night's main attraction, with visitors repeatedly complimenting her on her lovely appearance. She walked into the kitchen to assist Mom with supper preparation, and Sophia followed her. I grinned at myself. Sophia had no idea who she was dealing with if she went for Olivia. Sophia emerged from the home a few minutes later, very distressed. Sophia walked directly to Ryan, and I could see them bickering before she rushed off to sit away from him. Olivia came shortly after, bearing a tray beside Mom and one of my aunts. She grabbed my attention with a naughty grin. God, I adore that lady. Olivia joined me when she had placed down the meal, looking smug. She leaned in closer. You've been up to something, haven't you? She said softly. I smiled. You have no idea, she said with a smile. But I'll fill you in later. Not even a hint? I inquired. Just enjoy watching Sophia and Ryan squirm all night, she said, chuckling gently. I grinned and kissed her softly. The moment my divorce is final, I'm marrying you, I said. She smirked as she lifted her eyebrow. Planning to ask me first? I will, I pledged. On one knee and everything. I might even sing for you. Skip the singing, she said, chuckling. But I'm looking forward to it. Sophia and Ryan didn't say much the remainder of the night. When they did, Sophia's frown indicated that things were not going well. Later, when I went inside to use the restroom, I saw Ryan standing uncomfortably in the corridor. When he noticed me, he moved aside and avoided making eye contact. I threw him a brief, contemptuous look as I went by, and that was the end of our conversation. Following the party, I drove Olivia back to our flat. She was beaming the whole way home. I couldn't contain myself as soon as we went inside. All right, spill it. What did you say to Sophia at the party? Olivia leaned on the counter and smirked. So, I went to help your mom with the food, but she left for the bathroom, leaving me alone. That's when Sophia walked in, started loading a tray, and said, So, you're Liam's new girlfriend. I'm his wife, Olivia clarified. She really said that? I inquired, startled. Oh, absolutely, Olivia said with false tenderness. But I didn't let her rattle me. I looked her in the eyes and said, soon-to-be ex-wife, really, and I'm not just Liam's new girlfriend, I'm Olivia, his first girlfriend, the first lady he loved, and soon-to-be his bride. I laughed. What did she say to that? Olivia froze, completely taken off surprise. Then she tried, Liam already broke up with you once, what makes you think he won't do it again? So, I shot back, Liam didn't break up with me. I left him because he didn't believe me when I warned him your dear Ryan was after me. And we both know Ryan has a thing for taking everything Liam has, friends, girlfriends, even his wife. I glanced at her in amazement. You said that? Oh, I wasn't done, Olivia said, smirking. I added, Ryan knows how to get what he wants, but he didn't get me. I'd never stoop that low. You, on the other hand, better keep an eye on him. Guys like that don't handle rejection well, especially when they are drunk or angry. I was dumbfounded. No wonder she looked so upset when she came out. She didn't know what to say, Olivia added with a shrug. She just stared at me, then walked out. A few minutes later, she and Ryan were arguing. Do you think she's realizing who Ryan really is? I questioned her. Olivia nodded. She's not dumb. Judging by how they acted the rest of the night, she's already regretting her choices. I sighed and shook my head. That explains why she avoided him all night. You were right. Ryan was probably manipulating her the whole time. Olivia put her head on my chest. Ryan was different when you weren't around. Your presence kept him in check. Without you, his true nature came out. I frowned. Why didn't anyone tell me this before? Tell you that your twin brother is a manipulative idiot who resents you. Olivia said, tilting her head. He was always around, so no one could. And honestly, I was scared you wouldn't believe me. Until that party, I was right, you didn't. Yeah, I said, sorrow slipping in. I can't believe I fell for his lies. I was so gullible. You're not gullible, Liam. You're a good man who sees the best in people, Olivia remarked firmly. Don't let him change that. I drew her near and held her hard. Thank you, I muttered. She grinned and kissed me lightly. The story is ended, go to bed. Wait, I replied, halting her. What else are you hiding? There's something, isn't there? Olivia grinned. Want to guess? I smiled. That I'm the best lover you've ever had, obviously. But she mocked and laughed. No. That you can't wait to marry me again. I responded with a jest. Yes, but still nodded, she said, smiling. My eyes narrowed as I observed her. You're pregnant, aren't you? Her face lightened up. Yes. I kissed her carefully and savored the moment. How far along? Not far, she confessed. I just confirmed it with the doctor this week. You're not upset that we didn't talk about it first? She said nervously. It happened while I was switching birth control. No, Olivia, I'm thrilled, I answered, smiling. I can't wait to marry you, buy a house, and have 4 kids. 4? She exclaimed in faux horror. I need to keep my figure, you know. You'll be the prettiest mom in the PDA, I told you. The slimmest MIL in the Austin. You say the nicest things, she said, beaming genuinely. I love you. I love you too, Olivia, I said, hugging her tight. My divorce was completed 2 months later, and Olivia and I were married 3 weeks after. We kept it small, only family and close friends. Isabel and Emily were her bridesmaids, while Daniel and Jake served as my best men. We purchased a property in Fort Worth that needed repairs, but with the aid of my father and co-workers, we were able to swiftly fix it up. Life rushed quickly, yet everything seemed good. Olivia and I had finally discovered the life we were always intended to have. Our kid, Mason, was born 6 months after Olivia and I were married. Holding him for the first time was overpowering, and seeing Olivia with him was even more poignant. She was naturally caring, patient, and compassionate. Mason became the focal point of our lives, and we felt whole. Olivia is expecting another child, this time a daughter. The scans reveal she is healthy, and we are already arranging her arrival. Mom and Dad are overjoyed about another grandchild. They have completely embraced their duties as grandparents, but they are slowing down with the family company. John and Susie are no longer members of it. Susie left John a few months after we remarried. She received a restraining order and returned to the Midwest to live with her family. Mom and Dad told me she finally saw John for what he was: manipulative, domineering, and ultimately violent. When she departed, they pushed him out of the family company. He is now a silent partner, much like me, and works for another contractor in San Jose. I hardly think about him anymore. Olivia was correct all along. She recognized the truth before anybody else, and I have learned to entirely trust her intuition. She is more than simply my wife, she is my anchor. Last weekend, we went Mason to my folks' place for lunch. It was one of those unusually calm afternoons. Mom and Dad played with Mason in the backyard, while Olivia and I sat on the porch and watched. I can't believe how everything turned out, I replied, grasping her hand. Your dad was correct, Olivia remarked with a grin. It all worked out for the best. I kissed her hand and leaned back to absorb the moment. Life was not ideal, but it was ours and it was enjoyable. Looking at our little family, I realized we had all we needed. Olivia put her head on my shoulder. Do you think she'll have your eyes? She said, referring to our newborn daughter. I hope she has yours, I said, smiling. Olivia laughed gently. I hope she gets your patience and maybe your optimism. And maybe your stubbornness, I mocked. She rolled her eyes. You'll never let that go, will you? Never, I murmured, bringing her closer. I love you, Olivia. I love you, too, Liam, she said lovingly. As I saw my parents play with Mason and hold Olivia's hand, I realized it was everything I'd ever wanted. Olivia would always be the love of my life. Thank you for watching. What do you believe was the turning moment in their relationship? Leave your opinions in the comments and remember to like and subscribe.